2022 for many people has been a tough year. The stock market is down, interest rates are up, the cost of living is on the rise, the world of cryptocurrency is on fire, and people are losing their job at what seems like an accelerated rate. We've been saying it for a long time here in the channel, but it seems as though these recession fears are finally coming to fruition in a very real and tangible way. And as a result, this could be some really bad news for a lot of people. And of course, I absolutely do not want to see the recession decline. I don't want to see people lose their jobs or have to make tough financial decisions. But we have to acknowledge the silver lining that comes along with an economic recession. And today, that silver lining comes in the form of the car market. And while 2023 may be an even more difficult year compared to 2022, I do think that we will see some major improvements to both the new and the used car market. Now, I've been covering the car market for over a year now, and over the course of this year, I've talked about declining prices, increases in repossessions and loan delinquencies, production issues, and more. And today, rather than covering what's going on with the car market today, I want to instead talk about everything that's happened this year and what this ultimately means for the car market going forward. And I'm going to be going over what we may be able to expect in 2023 when it comes to the car market, production, and of course, used and new car prices. And these predictions are not only based off of the research that I've been doing over the course of the last year for this channel, but it's also based off of analysis and predictions that automotive experts have made themselves. But in order to give a proper prediction of where we're heading in the car market in 2023, we first have to summarize where we've been and what's been going on with the car market year to date. But before we dig into that, I do want to let you guys know that it is officially Black Friday for the Car Sharing Masterclass, which is my course that teaches you how to start your very own car sharing business. If you're watching this between November 18th and November 30th, you can use the code BLACKFRIDAY247 to get $247 off the Car Sharing Masterclass purchase. This is over 49% off, which is the lowest price that the Car Sharing Masterclass will be ever again. That's because come Black Friday 2023, we would have launched a second iteration of the Car Sharing Masterclass, and all current students at that time will get automatic free complimentary access into that new iteration, as well as all future iterations of the course. So this Black Friday sale is the lowest price that the Car Sharing Masterclass will be forever. So as many of you know, I've been a Turo and car sharing host for over 5 years now, and I compounded all of my knowledge and experience into 7 hours worth of course content. And in the Car Sharing Masterclass, I will show you everything that you need to know about starting a Turo and car sharing side hustle. In the Car Sharing Masterclass, we go over everything that you need to know, from accounting to LLCs, how to buy cars, where to buy them, how to automate communications with the guest, what happens if your car is in an accident, as well as everything in between. So click the link in the description below, use the code BLACKFRIDAY247, and steal the deal today. Now, let's go back to what we were talking about. We all know the car market was overinflated for the entirety of 2021 and the better part of 2022, with prices of used cars being in some cases more used than these cars were originally new. And in the case of new cars, cars being sold with insane dealer markups, sometimes adding up to tens of thousands of dollars above MSRP. And this was caused because of extreme supply and demand issues, things like production issues, the chip shortage, stimulus payments causing an increase in demand, and things like that. But over the summer, we saw a real shift in the used car market, and this was in large part due to a decrease in demand, which was caused by things like inflation and cost of living, interest rates, poor economic outlook. And this decrease in demand, paired with a slight increase in supply, has caused for used and new car prices to come down a bit. And so now that you're up to speed, let's talk about 2023. And whenever we talk about the car market outlook for 2023, I believe that there are going to be 3 key components that are going to play an important role. Number 1 is an increase in production, which will increase the supply of new cars. Secondly is an increase in supply due to repossessions and dealers filing for bankruptcy. And number 3 is a decrease in demand due to economic conditions. And over the course of this last year, we've seen these 3 factors play their role in lowering car prices. And I believe that over the course of 2023, these factors will continue to play a role in accelerating the drop of car prices as well. Unfortunately, production most likely will not be back to 100% in 2023. In fact, I would go as far as to say it almost certainly will not be back to normal. In fact, many automakers have already cut production outlook for 2023. For example, 10.5 million planned vehicles were lost in 2021 due to the chip shortage. 3.6 million were lost this year, and it's expected that between 2 and 3 million will be lost next year in 2023 as well. And of course, this is a huge improvement from 2021, but it's very far off from where we need to be in order to return to pre-pandemic levels. And these issues in large part are due to the chip shortage, which still hasn't been sorted out. But the good news is production is supposed to normalize towards the end of 2023. Granted, these same experts that are predicting this are the same ones that predicted that production would return to normal by the end of 2022, which obviously isn't the case. Ultimately, none of us really know when exactly production is going to return to normal, but what we do know is that production is improving, which does mean something. Unfortunately for us, prices will not return to pre-pandemic levels until production returns to pre-pandemic levels. And even then, there is reason to believe that new car prices may never return to pre-2019. But in order for the used car market to normalize, the new car market has to normalize as well. And as far as general supplies outside of production, I could see us seeing an increase in supply from a few different sources. First is repossessions. This is something I've spoken about in depth in a recent video. Repossessions are at a decade high. They're expected to increase, and as these increase, so will the supply in the market, which is good news. The second place that we could potentially see an increase in supply is if online retailers end up going out of business or filing for bankruptcy. I'm looking at Carvana for this one. Now, I'm not saying that I think that Carvana is going to go out of business this year, but I absolutely think that it is a possibility. And if Carvana doesn't go under entirely, I think there's even more of a likelihood that Carvana could file for bankruptcy, or alternatively, they could begin liquidating their inventory. This could be the catalyst that would significantly decrease used car prices because it would flood the used car market with more and more cars, which would be a great thing for used car buyers. But of course, we have to discuss the third facet, which is a decrease in demand, which will also affect used and new car prices. And this is something that I feel like I've been beating like a dead horse over the course of the last few months. Demand is falling because of the economy, and though there are signs indicating that the Federal Reserve may ease rising interest rates in 2023, it doesn't change the fact that things don't look great from an economic standpoint, and people are much less likely to buy a newer used car today than they would have been a year ago. And this is of course going to impact demand, and thus it will also impact pricing. But one other factor that I also want to talk about that I think doesn't get discussed enough is how markets like the crypto market and the stock market affect seemingly unrelated markets like the car market. These markets are much more intertwined than it seems on the surface, and I do believe that this bear market in stocks and the absolute implosion of crypto this last week has an impact on the car market, almost entirely due to consumer sentiment. And it's not that I think it only affects the car market, I think it also affects things like the housing market as well, but we're not going to dive into that today. When people are making money, even if that money isn't realized actual gains, it changes that person's mindset when it comes to spending money. And I think that this is especially true with frivolous or large purchases like a car, for example. If you're up 600% on your crypto portfolio and you have $250,000 worth of crypto sitting in your FTX or BlockFi account, then you may be able to justify that new car purchase. And I think we saw that a lot in 2020 and 2021 as people were making a ton of money on the stock market, crypto, NFTs, and more. But when those 600% returns disappear in the blink of an eye, or when your stock portfolio is down 20, 30, 40%, those large purchases become much harder to justify, even if your actual cash in hand didn't change at all. Being up or down with your investments absolutely changes your mindset whenever it comes to making large purchases. And I absolutely think that this is going to play a role, even if it's just a small one, in the car market as a whole. Ultimately, these are the factors that I think currently are at play with the used and new car market, and they're also the factors that I think will continue to play their role throughout 2023. And as far as when car prices will fall, I think we'll see car prices continue to fall 2 to 3% every month until something bigger happens. Maybe we'll see a sharp increase in layoffs, maybe production gets back to normal as predicted in Q3, maybe Carvana closes down. But based off of what I'm seeing, I think wholesale prices will continue to trickle down unless some other factor steps in and accelerates that. And as far as car prices at dealerships, as HP and I talked about in a previous video, we believe that Q4 and holiday incentives will be the start of car prices falling at the dealership level. Car prices haven't fallen at the dealership level significantly yet, but I do think that over the next 1 to 2 months, we will begin to see that shift. And as far as third-party platforms like Facebook or Craigslist, prices are falling on those platforms, and I do think that they will continue to fall throughout 2023. But with that being said, you guys, these are my official thoughts and predictions for where the car market is heading next year. Ultimately, I've been saying it for the better part of 2022. The longer that you can wait to buy a car, the better. And I do think that we will continue to see prices fall. We'll continue to see the car market shift. And I think as the economy continues to get worse, which I personally think that it will, this will have a heavier and heavier impact on car prices, accelerating that drop in price. But like always, if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next video.